Wow, just wow. If you are a fan of the Philadelphia 76ers, you have to applaud and you have to congratulate your boys for showing up tonight against our arch rival in the Boston Celtics away at the TD Garden. We all know the difficulties we've had in the TD Garden, quite frankly, in our team's history. The Philadelphia 76ers stepped up and got a big win here against a division foe in the Boston Celtics. Guys, I'm in Parceo Philly, uniting all through sports and culture here in the beautiful city of Philadelphia. And today we're going to look at the Philadelphia 76ers game against the Boston Celtics. Sit back and hang tight, guys, because you don't want to miss this. Let's get this started, guys. Yeah! Before we move forward, guys, real quick, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning into my channel and to this show, quite frankly. Guys, if you are a fan of Philadelphia sports and you want some Philly sports content, this is the place to be. If you want to see more stuff like this, definitely subscribe to this channel, hit the bell button for notifications, and share this video as well as the channel to everyone you know. But that's right, guys. Our Philadelphia 76ers went up to the TD Garden to face off against the Boston Celtics and walked out of the Garden with a big W. This was a great performance for the Philadelphia 76ers. And now, to start this 2019 season, the Sixers are now 2-0 against the Boston Celtics. Who would have thought this? The Celtics, and specifically Brad Stevens, has clearly had our number since Brad Stevens and Brett got to their respective teams. And this season, you know, in both games against Boston, we clearly were up to the challenge. And we were not fazed against Boston despite the past. It was two great performances, and it's never, ever going to be easy playing against Boston. They're never going to be easy games, but the Sixers persevered, went through adversity, and found a way to get a win here. But let's dive into this game. And when we talk about this game here tonight, we have to start off with Joel Embiid. We all know the criticism and the comments made by Shaq and Chuck on the TNT Inside the NBA panel there. And those words definitely got to Joel Embiid as he showed up big here in this game. And before the game, in the morning shoot around, you know, Joel took responsibility for it as well. He didn't engage in any feud. He didn't take the criticism in the wrong way. He took responsibility like an adult. And he said, listen, they're right. I got to play better. I got to dominate night in and night out. And definitely, it's understandable that it's tough to dominate night in, night out when teams know that you are the best player on our team. And they're going to throw the double and triple team. That is a tough task for Joel Embiid. But, you know, dominant centers before Joel Embiid had to deal with these same issues. And they were able to persevere and find a way to combat that. Joel Embiid's got to do the same here. And this was a great start to that tonight. Joel Embiid would finish this game with 38 points, 13 boards, and 6 assists. An absolute dominating performance against the Boston Celtics. He loves playing against Boston, quite frankly. We all know JoJo understands Philly sports, right? He understands we hate Boston. He understands the rivalry and the history between the Sixers and the Celtics. He definitely shows up big against the Celtics. From the minute this game started, he had the intensity. He was aggressive. He was taking on those double and triple teams. If he could, he would either drive to the paint with those double and triple teams, or he did a really good job in this game trying to find the outlet passes when teams were hitting him with those double and triple team fences. And he was able to find nice outlook passes. Mike Scott, Tobias Harris were able to benefit from JoJo's passing out of the double and triple teams. Whenever the Sixers needed a surge, JoJo was there to create that surge for the team. He even made some clutch shots near the end of the game to steal this win here for the Philadelphia 76ers. Even late in the third quarter, Enes Kanter and JoJo would go back and forth between those two players, and it was entertaining to watch. And Enes showed up for this game here, quite frankly. He was not scared for the opposition that was in Joel Embiid, and he gave him all he could handle. Enes would wind up with 20 points and 9 boards himself off the bench. But JoJo, despite Enes giving everything JoJo could handle, JoJo would prevail in that matchup with Enes Kanter. Daniel Theis also would have 16 points, 5 boards, and an assist. He would be the starter for the Celtics at center in this game. Guys, I want to talk about Tobias Harris as well. As I discussed, he was a beneficiary of JoJo's double and triple teams, and Tobias had a solid game here. He would be the second leading scorer behind Joel Embiid with his 23 points, 8 boards, and 7 assists, and he quite frankly showed you his versatility offensively in this game here. He was driving to the paint. He was making slashing runs to the paint, to the net as well. He was hitting jumpers. He was showing you different aspects of his game, and it's really, quite frankly, really exciting seeing Tobias Harris night in and night out being a consistent scorer. He is the guy we need on this team here. When in doubt, when you need someone to bail you out, there's Toby there to bail you out. Great game by Tobias Harris there. Mike Scott, he would get the start in this game for Al Horford. Al Horford would miss this game. He had a nagging knee and hamstring injuries. Now, I'm not saying he wasn't feeling hurt, but I think it's a little bit of a coincidence that he dressed up, right? He was in warm-ups, but he decided that he was not fit enough to play, returning back into Boston where he spent the last 3 seasons there. I don't know, but Mike, regardless, Al Horford didn't play. It was fine. We really didn't need him. Mike Scott stepped in his place. He would start at the 4 for the Philadelphia 76ers. Mike Scott played a pretty solid game. Again, like I said, he was a beneficiary of the JoJo double and triple teams. He hit a couple threes. The jumper was definitely looking fluid for Mike Scott. He was active on the defense as well. He was moving around offensively as well. He would finish this game with 15 points and 4 boards. So not a bad showing by Mike Scott. This is really what we need from Mike Scott there. And more importantly, we need him to be that energy booster for this team as well. So a good game by Mike Scott. Josh Richardson was able to get back in the groove in this game. We all know this is the second game back from missing about 2 weeks with his nagging hamstring injury. And in this game, he looked comfortable. He looked fluid. He was getting open on shots. You could clearly tell he's the smallest guy on the court for us in our starting lineup. But he would finish this game with 14 points, 2 boards, and 2 assists. So not a bad game for Josh Richardson. And like I said before, guys, he just has to adjust and get back to his game speed, and he's going to be fine. The Josh Richardson we saw against the Miami Heat will be back very soon. All right, guys. I really didn't want to talk about this, but I left the last spot on the starting lineup to talk about for Ben Simmons because Ben was absolutely disappointing here for the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, we all know how JoJo is when it comes to the Toronto Raptors. He doesn't play his best game, and it seems like the Toronto Raptors are Joel Embiid's kryptonite. Well, the Boston Celtics seem to be the kryptonite for Ben Simmons. He really does not have good games against the Boston Celtics. And tonight is the same thing here. He did not have a good game here. And, you could fault one thing. If a guy is actually, giving effort and it's just not his night, the shots aren't falling. That happens in the NBA. It's normal. But Ben Simmons offensively, where was your head? Were you even on the court? Did you want to play offense? My man looked terrible on offense. We all knew he wasn't going to go for the jumpers in Boston. Like, let's be real. He's not going to start shooting jumpers away from home, especially in Boston where, that place is in his head, quite frankly. But he wasn't even driving to the paint. And what's even worse is that Boston put a 6'1" point guard in Kemba Walker, who we all know is a great offensive player and he's a threat offensively, but defensively, 6'1" to 6'10", that's a freaking height difference. And that's a mismatch right there offensively. And for the Sixers, you would want to attack that mismatch, quite frankly, with that height difference. Now, Ben Simmons, as we all know, would look to pass the ball back behind the three-point line and would go down in the paint. And instead of looking for the open shot, there, it was clearly down in the paint. That's a spot that the Sixers want to take advantage of. Ben wasn't even looking for the ball. Like, I don't get how you pass the ball off and then walk to the net and just sit there. What does that benefit the offense? Like, I don't understand the logic in that. And Kemba Walker in the beginning was defending Ben perfectly down in the paint because Ben wasn't even trying. And then at one point, Kemba was like, all right, Ben's not going to even do shit. So he just would stand right next to him and it worked. And that's a serious problem here, guys, because when you have a center like Joel Embiid who's so gifted and is such a mismatch for anyone in this league down in the paint, you want a point guard who's going to be able to create some space by him. How do you create some space? By shooting the damn ball. We have a point guard who doesn't want to shoot the damn ball. And then when you have a mismatch like you had against Kemba Walker, you go down in the paint and you stand there. Oh man, it was so frustrating offensively to watch Ben Simmons in this game. Quite frankly, he even brought the headband back. Like, bro, like you aren't balling like AI out there. So what are you doing with the headband on? If you really want to wear the headband, then you ball like AI did when he rocked the shit out of that headband. Come on, Ben. It wasn't all bad with Ben though, because defensively he did show up here. He did play his part defensively. He would lead to some turnovers, and he did end up with 8 boards. So that's not too bad. But in a situation like this, when you're facing off against the Boston Celtics, a clear rival here, and Boston being, fighting with us for top spots in the East, where were you, bro? Where were you? Where is that guy to put the team on his back? He wasn't there. Off the bench, not too crazy production there. Furkan Korkmaz would get his 7 points there in his 8 minutes of playing. That's all we really want from Furkan, honestly, guys. Matisse Thybulle, he wasn't as effective here in this game, defensively or offensively. He would get 6 points with 1 board and 2 assists. Now, offensively wise, Boston is a little faster than most teams he has faced, especially Kemba Walker. They would put Matisse on Kemba Walker, and Kemba would just use his speed, and I don't think Matisse was used to Kemba's speed, but it wasn't the best game for Matisse, but that's okay. Our expectations for Matisse going into the season were nothing really, and he's really exceeding all of our expectations. So him having this type of game, we can't get too mad at that, guys, honestly. Now, this game was tightly contested throughout the game. No one really had a crazy lead in this game. That's usually how Boston and Philly games are when it comes to the NBA. They're always tight. They're always back and forth, and it was like that here in this game. I just kind of want to touch upon the management of our 2 stars here, because it's under a lot of criticism, and a lot of people are kind of doubting us right now simply because of the inconsistencies of Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, and we have discussed this quite frankly throughout the season. It's the same thing with both of these players. Joel Embiid, great game tonight. He showed up big. He shut up the haters here in this game, and that is great. And the same thing with Ben Simmons. Last weekend against Cleveland, against Toronto, Ben showed up big and had big games. It was even knocking down some jumpers. It was a crucial part both offensively and defensively. Then you have the Denver game. Then you have this game. And these are just 2 back-to-back games that were uninspiring performances by Ben Simmons. Guys, do you want to be great? Do you truly, honestly want to be great? Do you want to have your name? Do you want your name engraved in Philadelphia forever? Do you really want these things here? Because I'll tell you what, the best players who ever played in this league did not settle for 5 points in a night against your arch rival, against a team who's fighting with you for top seeding in the Eastern Conference. Part of this has to be on Brett Brown as well. He is the manager, the coach of this team here. You saw before the game, he was telling Joel what he wanted to see from Joel in this game. He gave him a vision, and Joel went out there, played physical, created his own space, took the double teams, found outlet passes. He did what Brett Brown wanted him to do. Now Brett's got to get under Ben Simmons. When there's a mismatch like Ben against Kemba Walker there, you got to tell Ben that you got to take advantage of the post there when Kemba Walker's guarding you. So we will definitely see what's going to happen here. But man, it's just so frustrating seeing some inconsistent play. And we should be happier because, guys, we beat the Celtics for the 2nd time this season. That is so exciting. And it wasn't an easy win here, but they persevered, and that's really what you want to see. But you really want to see consistency from your star players who are supposed to carry your team. All right, guys, but things don't get easier for the Sixers because we have a back-to-back. That's right, we got a back-to-back here. So the Sixers will be back tomorrow night at home in the Wells Fargo Center, and they will welcome a young upstart New Orleans Pelicans team. And I'm actually excited to see this team, quite frankly. I really like what they're doing down in New Orleans. Building a young nucleus. Young nucleus down there in New Orleans with the young players that they got, and especially after the Anthony Davis trade. Drew Holiday will be back home in Philly, and it's been so long, and it feels like it was yesterday when Drew donned the Sixers jersey and was dropping 30 points a night with the Sixers. But he will be back. Jalil Okafor will be back here in Philly as well. That should be fun to see. But I really want to see Brandon Ingram. I've heard and seen Brandon Ingram has been playing a lot better since his trade to New Orleans, which is good for him. You know, playing in LA, especially for the Lakers, is not easy to do, especially as a young player. And I think that down in New Orleans, it's a perfect opportunity for him. Same thing with Lonzo Ball. Lonzo seems to be coming off the bench for them as well. And then, of course, J.J. Redick will be back in Philly as well. He just dropped 31 points last night against the Milwaukee Bucks. So, maybe JJ is dropping some work on these guys here. But we will see. That will be a 7 o'clock tip-off for the Sixers. And we will see what happens against the Pelicans. A good test for us. But, guys, that is all I got for you today. Final score, Sixers winning this game, 115-109. Great, tough win here up in Beantown for the Sixers. And guys, if you are a fan of what you saw here today and you want to see more, help me grow El Parceo Philly here in the Philadelphia sports landscape. How can you help? It's quite easy, actually. Help me by liking this video, subscribing to this channel, hitting the bell button for notifications, as well as sharing this video and this channel. And if you want to follow me on other platforms of social media, definitely do so, guys. Very easy. Follow me on Twitter at El Parceo Philly, and you can also follow me on Instagram at El_Parceo_Philly. But until next time, guys, I'm El Parceo Philly, and that is all I have for you for our Philadelphia 76ers.